Hello, it's Alex. Welcome to my channel and thank you for joining me for this week's Friday sews. This week I've had a few fabric deliveries, so I've got some plans to talk about, and I have made the Billie pants from Stylark that I've said for the last couple of weeks I was planning to make, and they're a little bit more unusual than I realised, so I'm kind of interested to show them to you. I'm not entirely sure whether they've been 100% successful, but I like it as a pattern, so let me tell you about them. I wanted to make them because I like the shape. They are ankle length and they taper down, so they are not a super tight leg nor are they a super wide leg. I've been wearing lots of wide leg trousers recently and I wanted something that was a little bit in between the two, especially with sort of spring and summer in mind, because I think this kind of tapered leg trousers are the sort of, it's the sort of thing you can wear with pretty much anything. You know, if it's colder, you stick some socks and a pair of boots on, and in the winter, sandals, and you're good to go. So it was a toss-up between whether I made these or the geese pants, the pattern I bought from Paper Cut Patterns that I mentioned last week, and I'm probably going to make those this coming week so I can compare the two. So what I like about this is that it has a flat front but quite a deep pleat at the front. You've got the pockets, you know, front pockets, and then the pleat. So that's what drew me to them. I thought that it had a zip fastening. I actually bought a zip alongside my fabric to put in. It just says hook and bar closure on the little diagram, and I assumed it was a side zip. Obviously I haven't paid enough attention because it doesn't have a zip at all. It is purely fastened with the hook and bar and a button closure, and it's fastened behind. It's supposed to be the left pocket, but I think I made mine on the right side. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. So I thought I would show it to you. Now, we all know that Stylark are notorious for having pretty basic instructions. They seem to have got a little bit better recently. They've improved in their clarity. I have been making Stylark patterns for a long time, and I've always found them to actually be enough information for what you need. The diagrams, although they're sparse, they usually provide a diagram when necessary, and it's usually enough. However, this time I didn't feel that the instructions gave you enough information. There was a fair bit of head scratching and a little bit of unpicking, so I kind of wanted to show you how these look on the inside and also explain it so that if anybody's thinking of making them, I've done the hard work for you, hopefully. Okay, so I dashed off. I thought I had lots of fabric that would be suitable in my stash, and I have got some. I wanted to avoid linen. I'm not quite ready for being that light yet. I wanted something suiting weight, and I didn't really have anything. I did, but lots in black, and I wanted to avoid black. White dog. So dashed off to Leon's and I looked at all the suiting fabrics, and I bought this, which is, so this is how they look on the hanger. So this is a wool blend, and it's wool and poly. Ideally I was looking for a wool and viscose blend. That's what I made a pair of trousers out of recently from them. And I found it to be a really great compromise because it's machine washable, unlike 100% wool. It's not scratchy, it's not itchy. The viscose gives it a nice drape, but the wool just gives it a nicer quality feeling. So I thought, okay, poly isn't my ideal thing to have in the blend, but I thought it would work. I did say at Leon's that I was going to pre-wash it, and they did kind of go, I think you should hand wash it. You know, they said, okay, even if you pre-wash it, wool will continue to shrink. But I think life is too short for hand washing. So I did put it in the washing machine on the wool setting, or delicates, or one of those, and I put it at a very low temperature, maybe 20 degrees. I'm not going to be hand washing it. Anyway, so this kind of olivey green colour, it frayed like mad. What I wanted to show you, so there's the front, so you've got your pockets here on both sides. Where is it? There we go. And these deep pleats, so the pleats overlap just slightly, the edge of the pocket there. It's sewn down to about here-ish, and then obviously it just goes down. Obviously you can, I presume, if you wanted to, iron that pleat in. Not my cup of char. You've got darts at the back and a cuff at the hem. So it is one of those patterns that you do need to check the length of before you make it up. I didn't need to make any alterations. The one thing I know about style arc patterns is that they usually fit me straight out of the non-existent packet. Regardless, I've made style arc patterns when I was a size 16, size 18, size 14. They've always fitted me more or less straight away. This time it was a size 12, gone up and down, up and down. Maybe I should have toiled. We'll see what you think. But yeah, so if you are, I'm 5'7", and I would say that this cuff is hitting me exactly where I want it to do at kind of ankle length, but definitely be aware that you might need to adjust that if you're shorter or taller. So what happens is, I think I've still got a chalk mark on the outside of there, so just pretend you can't see that if you can. So there is my hook and bar. Hold on. And then I've got the button and the buttonhole. And that's how it opens up. So that is part of the pocket. So when I put my hand in, where are we? Yeah, it's fallen away. So I put my hand in my pocket and it's kind of into the body of the trousers. So if I put that back like that, do you see what I'm saying? And that's how you get into it. There's enough of an overlap that you're not in the least bit worried about flashing your underwear. So I found it very interesting. I definitely hadn't noticed that before. And yeah, it's when you've kind of been sewing for a little while, it's nice to have a pattern that's constructed in a different way. But the instructions were not easy. Just trying to work out the best way to show this to you. So if you are thinking of making them, I think what I'll do now is insert a little bit of the footage that I took while I was constructing that pocket. Obviously, one pocket is just a bog standard construction, you know, fairly standard pocket. Ignore the fact that my overlocking thread wasn't the best match. But the other one, the side where you're getting into the garment and it's open with the hook and bar closure, is a little less conventional. So I made some mistakes on it, and I'm going to insert that footage now. I'll put a timestamp because if you're not interested on that, you can jump forward. Okay, so this is the inside of the pocket. This is the normal side, i.e. where the opening isn't going to be. So it's just a normal pocket bag. The pleat is hiding behind it, and that's the bit where your hand goes in. So on this side, this is the side where you've got the opening. So it's the same pocket bag, but this inside facing part of it is actually two pieces of fabric that have been sewn closed up to here. So this section is open, and then it becomes all one piece on the lower part of the pocket. So it's the same at the front. You can put your hand in, but you could also, from the inside, put your hand in here. Now this is where I've made my mistake, because when I sewed the pleat down here, I shouldn't have sewn it down to include this back pocket piece. So I've just got to unpick that stitching there and re-sew it, but with this section here completely folded out of the way. I'll do that now and show you when I've done it. Okay, so I've unpicked it now. So it looks the same and I can still put my hand in the front pocket, but it now is like this. So this is the inside part of the pocket, which is actually 2 layers. The pleat is hiding under here. And that's how it is at the front. So I hope that was useful to anybody who's thinking of making them. So I'm going to put them on now because there are lots of things I like about them, but the fit at the front and where the pleats are sitting is a bit peculiar. So I think the best way for me to show you that is on the body. Okay, so it's this front part that I'm finding, let's chuck that away, that I'm finding kind of distracting, I suppose. I mean, strictly speaking, you could say that it fits. The waistband is fitting just about perfectly. It's fine at the back, you know, it's quite a good fit actually at the back, I think. But this whole hoo-ha at the front, maybe it's, I think the way we should be describing these things these days is that it's not a good fit for my body, rather than my body's not a good fit for it. But to me, it just looks all a bit messy at the front here. Now, first things first, I would say it's fairly low-waisted. They seem like they work better when they're sitting a little bit lower down. I don't want to pull it up because that was giving a bit of camel toe. I'm kind of used to things that are high-waisted at the moment, so that is just, you know, a habit to unlearn, I suppose. But this, with these kind of lines here, I don't think is looking great. So the pleat kind of is stitched down to about there-ish. So one solution could be, you see, if that was sitting, I don't know, a little bit more like that, maybe it would be better. Maybe I have to stitch the pleats down further, but even then we've got some very unattractive folds going on. Is it because there's too much fullness around my thighs, as in are the thighs pulling the fabric and that's what's creating that there? I'm not entirely sure. You know, is it because there's a little bit of tummy here? But this, I feel, is so kind of peculiar that as much as I'll insert some other pictures, but as much as I like the shape and everything else about them, at the moment, I feel like that's a distracting front there. And I'm not entirely sure what can be done about it. The pocket, by the way, so this is the pocket with the you know, with the bit for how you get in. Probably flashing you a bit of HRT patch here. Yeah, so there we go. So that's how you kind of gain access in, and that's fine. They feel comfortable. Because of the access to the front, because that opens, part of the pocket on this side is open. So down here, there's my thumb. So down up until there, that's enclosed, but this bit up here is open. So that's a bit strange. And I wonder, although that feels a bit odd, I wondered if I stitched it further up, whether that would hinder me being able to open it enough to step in and do it up. So yeah, do you see what I mean? It's kind of like, yeah, but maybe I would wear it if I was wearing a top that was long enough that it would cover, you know, if I was wearing a top that was at mid-thigh, then it wouldn't be so bad. But at the moment, I don't think I really want to be wearing these. Is it like if I, see, I'm not sure it's any better if I push them down. Anyway, tell me what you think. Or if anybody knows if there's something I could do without having to remake the whole blasted thing, that would be great if anyone's got any ideas. Hopefully you can see why I'm a bit frustrated, I think, really, because there's a lot about the shape that I like. Anyway, shall I show you the fabric I got this week? So I've got a few plans. I think it's mostly because of change in season or potential change in season. We are having another cold snap here in the UK, hence me wearing something warmer again. There's still my 30% off this pattern code is still relevant. I think it's ALEXJUDGESEWS for the Mila Jumper at Tammy Handmade. It's perfect for today because it's fleece backed, this fabric, so it's nice and cosy because there's been snow in the UK again. Hopefully the spring weather will come back. But because it's been feeling lighter and brighter and the clocks are going to change, I think in 2 weeks' time, I've been kind of looking at, those kind of fabrics and plans and ideas. So I've had a few bits and pieces arrive. One parcel like I didn't order it. One parcel of fabric that I ordered from Lulou Designs came with a few bits in. So one of them includes this Atelier Brunette fabric that I've been basically looking for an excuse to buy. It's this one. It's the colour. Well, it's all of it that I like. But I really love the colour and I love a geometric print. It's got a slight sheen to it. Not really. It just feels very nice. And I've been dying to find some fabric in this kind of, I don't quite know how we'd describe this green, but however we describe it, I think it would work well for my colouring and with my hair. I'm a little bit in two minds about what I'm going to make with it. I have seen a pattern that I've been wanting to make for a little while from the Sewing Revival, and it's called the Dovetail dress. I am an affiliate for the Sewing Revival, so the link in the description box will be an affiliate link. Now, strictly speaking, the Dovetail dress specifies a kind of slightly weightier fabric, but that's because I think this is a really nice versatile pattern. It has a V-neck and there are two options. One has a pleat front. It's quite a wide pleat as the dress kind of goes down, a pleat front at the front, and you have the option to either have a plain back or a pleat back as well. But you've also got the options for sleeveless. So if you made it in something like a wool or a cord or a denim, so a weightier fabric, you could wear it in the winter over, a long sleeve top. And if you made it in something lighter, you could do the short sleeve version, and there's a long sleeve version. So it's quite pretty versatile. Pockets, of course. And I've really wanted to make it ever since it came out, which is a little while ago now. So strictly speaking, because it says, if you really want to see that nice crisp pleat, you're looking for something that's a little bit more substantial. But I made a few of those, my other favourite pattern, the Stitchbird dress from the Sewing Revival, which also has a pleat in the front, and a couple of my versions are with Nanny Iro fabric that is a very similar weight to this, and it works beautifully. So I'm seriously considering, I've bought enough, seriously considering making a short sleeve or sleeveless, I'm not sure which, version of the Dovetail dress. Again, this is another one of those pattern companies where I know the measurements work really well for me, so I won't bother toiling it. So that is one option. The other option is that I might make another Stan shirt from PM Patterns. That was the one I made fairly recently. I love that, and I'm thinking that if I make another Stan shirt, I might do it with the version that had the pleats that run across the shoulders and all the way down, just to see how that looks. That's my excuse anyway. So that's one option. The other thing that came from Lulou Designs, I used to order a lot from Lulou Designs, and I sort of just got out of the habit of looking, which is a real shame because they have some really beautiful fabrics. And they are the company that have quite a big focus on seasonal fabrics, as in colour seasons. So I know, for example, that according to the, what do they call it, colour analysis, or anyway, that I'm an autumn, and they will have fabrics grouped according to what's good if you're a spring and a summer, an autumn and a winter. And it's a mother and daughter company, and Sam, who is the mum, has a background in colour, albeit paint, but still colour. So she's great at all of that stuff. And on their website, they will organise fabric according to those seasonal groups. And in there, they have got this, which is a linen, I think it's linen and viscose, but it's a linen and something knit fabric. And I have been looking for this kind of fabric for a very, very long time. And it's looking more solid in there. It has got that kind of slubby, I think you can just about see my hand through it, that slubby texture that you get in linen jersey. And I've been looking for that kind of fabric for a really long time. So I was really pleased to see it there. And this, as you can see, is blue. And I'm often saying that I can't wear blue because it just doesn't look very good on me. But they have this under the autumn sort of colour suggestions. And I really trust Sam with colour. I know she's really good at identifying which colours are good for which seasons, you know what I'm saying, which colours work for which seasonal groups. So I thought, well, if Sam says that this is a good blue for autumns, I'm going to take a punt on it, especially because it's this linen fabric, viscose fabric, stretchy. So what I'm going to do with this, I think I only have a metre of this, and it's because I'm going to make one of the Rachel tops that I showed you last week from Joli Lab. I will probably do a short sleeve version because, as I say, I've just got a metre of it. And then also from them I bought this, which is a jersey again, but it has a kind of, it has a stripe in it, and it's a sort of browny, ochre-y, camel-y kind of colour. And again, I'm going to make a Rachel top, but this time I will do one of the long sleeved versions. So back to basics again, because I was talking about basics on yesterday's video for the Frugal Frocks challenge, which I will, well, you can go to my channel if you haven't seen that. I think, yeah, I do think sometimes we omit the basics because they're not as exciting, but they are the things that we wear the most. I've also taken delivery of some fabric from Minerva, and it's one of their blogger network fabrics, so I haven't paid for it, and I'll be doing a blog post in the future, but it's one of their exclusive designs. Now, I have been looking for a jersey print fabric for a couple of months for a specific pattern in mind, and it's a Gertie pattern, and it's called the Society Dress. It's one that you get if you join up to her Patreon. I've mentioned before that I did join her Patreon for a few months last year, and after a little while I found that the patterns that were being released weren't always entirely me, so I stopped the subscription. And then in December this pattern came out and I restarted my subscription. Well, just for this pattern. I absolutely love it, but it is most definitely the kind of dress that I think, when would I wear it? and I've been chewing it over ever since it came out. I think it was around about Christmas time. So it has a really beautiful bodice. There are a couple of sleeve options. One is a really big bishop sleeve, the other is a short sleeve, and it's kind of tight under the bodice with, I think it's a V-line, V-neck, yeah, tight bodice, and then a full skirt. And there are two skirt options. One is completely floor length, which has godets in it, so it really, really very full, and the other is a knee length. And then the bit that just I love to bits is the hood. I think the versions with the hood on look beautiful. So it's pretty form-fitting around the middle, and I'm not 100% comfortable with that. It is designed for a knit fabric, and has to have quite a bit of stretch in it, I seem to remember. And I thought to myself, right, the best thing to do is look for something with a pattern on it, because it just adds a little bit more confidence than a plain fabric. I just feel it's more, hides more. And I couldn't find anything I liked the look of. And then I saw this from Minerva and thought, this is perfect. So it's got this fabulous kind of, well, I don't know what kind of colour we call this, do we? It's like it's darker than a camel, but it definitely has a brown tinge to it. It's floral, but not, you know me, I'm not a kind of mega floral person. Still feels kind of contemporary. I like all the colours in it. I like the yellow and the grey and the black, and so yeah, I saw that and thought, hallelujah. Now that I have found the perfect fabric to make that dress, I think I better make the dress. I also have this theory that, I have this with clothes and shoes as well. If you see something, you walk away from it and you can't get it out of your head, you keep thinking about it, then it means you really need to go and get it. I want to have a longer skirt, but I don't want it to be all the way to the floor, because I just don't know when I'd ever wear that. So I think what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to make, the long version has the godets, so I'm not going to include the godets. I'm going to use the pattern piece for the knee length skirt and lengthen it, and I think that will work. I would like to have the bishop sleeves, and I'd like to have the hood. And I think it's a possible contender for me to wear at the gathering, which is the sewing meetup that I'm going to in April, so next month. I'll see. That's what I've got in mind anyway. I'm not 100% sure. So I'd like to kind of make, I'm not sure. I see, I've said I'd make the other trousers. I don't know. Could be the trousers, could be the Gertie dress. And then last but not least, when I was in Lyon's, my local fabric shop, buying the trouser fabric, I spotted this. You can see it's been pre-washed, so it's looking a bit ribbly. And I'm fairly sure it's not 100% linen. I think it's a linen viscose mix. But again, I bought it just because I like the colour. I think I got 2.5 meters. That'll give me enough to make something. I don't know what. Absolutely no idea. But I just thought it was a nice colour and a nice kind of spring sort of print. Yeah, basically I went to the fabric shop and got carried away. I'm sure that I am not the only person that gets carried away in a fabric shop. Could have been a lot worse. So yes, that's me done for this week. If you haven't seen my So Frugal challenge video that I did, that was just yesterday. Go and have a look at that for ideas for free sewing patterns. Also, it's good to just check out that hashtag, because so many brilliant ideas on there from so many vloggers. Thank you very much, everyone. As always, you are all fantastic. See you soon. Bye bye.